The gorilla's wild, maniacal laughter drove Leah even more insane, because her boyfriend had just been sent to meet God by the gorilla. Lucy felt devastated, because not long ago this gorilla had been part of her family, and now it had completely turned into a ruthless killer. The great ape Jimmy had been raised by Lucy's family since he was young. Jimmy was incredibly intelligent and well-behaved. He could even use a tablet to express his thoughts. Lucy's friends had come to her house for a vacation. At first they were frightened by Jimmy, but gradually they were won over by his intelligence and cuteness. However, that night Jimmy suddenly seemed like a different animal. He began staring blankly at the surface of the water, and kept drooling. Anna slowly reached out her hand toward Jimmy. She cautiously placed her hand on him, but unexpectedly, Jimmy grabbed Anna's hand tightly and refused to let go. Fortunately, Lucy's father appeared just in time and stopped Jimmy. He took out his phone and typed an apology to Anna. Anna didn't think too much of it. Little did they know, Jimmy was no longer the Jimmy they once knew. Lucy's father locked Jimmy inside a cage. He discovered an unexplained wound on Jimmy's body. Out of concern, he contacted a doctor to treat him. But unexpectedly, the doctor never showed up again. In the middle of the night, Lucy and the others heard faint cries for help. They rushed to the swimming pool area and saw Jimmy behaving erratically. Jimmy looked both nervous and extremely agitated. Seeing this, Lucy slowly stepped forward, trying to calm him the way she always had. But before she could get close, a low suppressed growl rumbled from Jimmy's throat. Nick quietly circled around behind him, trying to find a rope in a storage box to tie him up. While searching, he accidentally bumped into an electric toy. A sharp electronic sound suddenly rang out. The noise clearly stimulated Jimmy. He lifted his head, his eyes turning even more vicious. Startled, Nick immediately grabbed the toy and threw it off the cliff. While Lucy continued trying to soothe Jimmy, Nick finally found a rope in the box and quickly tied a knot, preparing to loop it around Jimmy's neck. But Jimmy reacted with extreme resistance to the rope. Lucy immediately stepped forward to stop him. She patiently slowed her movements and began communicating with him through sign language. The familiar gestures and scent gradually calmed Jimmy down. His breathing slowly steadied. Eventually, he allowed Lucy to approach and gently hug him. Lucy carefully placed the rope around his body, but the moment the knot tightened, Jimmy seemed to realize he was being restrained. He suddenly shoved her away, his eyes once again filled with rage. As they were discussing what to do next, Jimmy suddenly let out a roar and lunged at Nick. Fortunately, the rope snapped tight in time and held Jimmy back. Someone suggested they should put Jimmy down, because he had become far too dangerous, but Lucy simply could not accept that. They tried calling the doctor. The phone connected, but no one answered. Instead, they faintly heard the ringtone coming from the direction of the backyard cage. At that moment, they realized the doctor might have already met with an accident. Lucy noticed that Jimmy seemed to have bitten through the rope. She was just about to warn everyone to stay away, when Jimmy suddenly went berserk and began attacking. Jimmy deliberately guarded the exit, as if herding prey and trapping them in the pool area. With no other choice, they jumped into the swimming pool to escape, because gorillas cannot swim. Jimmy indeed stopped at the edge of the pool, pacing back and forth while staring at them intensely. They began to suspect that Jimmy might be sick. Lucy remembered the wound on his arm, as well as his abnormal aggression and drooling. These symptoms perfectly matched rabies. The cliffside pool was extremely remote. Behind them was a sheer cliff, and the narrow path leading back to the villa was the only exit. And now that path was being guarded by Jimmy, infected with rabies. Trapped in the water, they could only shout desperately toward the open cliff for help. But their voices couldn't carry far enough. Jimmy then moved toward the cliffside direction and forced them back to the center of the pool again. Nick suddenly burst out of the water and rushed toward the shore, trying to use momentum to push Jimmy off the cliff. Before Nick could even celebrate, a powerful hand grabbed his arm. Everyone in the pool froze. A strange guttural sound came from Jimmy's throat, as if he were mocking their helplessness and despair.